Hi guys, and welcome to the Ace Tanker for the Heavy Tank number 6, one of the most recent additions to the game. It is the Tier 6 Japanese Heavy Tank, which obviously by the looks of it is a Tiger. Yes, it's the Tiger that famously never arrived in Japan, but this tank is one of the latest additions to my garage, and to be quite honest with you, I haven't played too many games in it because I'm not enjoying it very much. It's just not very good. The biggest problem for the Heavy Tank number 6 is the fact it doesn't get special matchmaking. That means it will see tier 7s, it will see tier 8s, and when this tank sees tier 8s, it is absolutely garbage. Really, it is absolutely garbage. The tank has quite a few problems when it is not top tier. As a top tier heavy tank though, I don't think it's that bad. The tank does have some strengths. It's got 8 degrees of gun depression, so you can use this thing on hills, you can use it on rises, you can play it hull down. It's got 8 degrees of gun depression, which does give it a little bit of flexibility. The DPM on the tank isn't too bad, and one of probably the tank's biggest strengths is the fact it's got 370 meters of view range, which is very, very good for a tier 6 heavy tank. So you can boost that with equipment and cruise skills as well. So it's got decent view range, and as I say, it's got decent gun depression. When it's top tier, it does have armor. It's got 100 millimeters of frontal armor all around. Now there are weak spots like the machine gun port or the viewport, but basically it's got 100 millimeters of frontal armor, but it's flat, just like the Tiger is. So there are lots of guns that are going to go through this. Even lower tier guns are going to go through the front of the Heavy Tank 6 unless you know how to angle, and even then it's not guaranteed that they aren't going to penetrate. But the frontal armor when it's top tier is okay. The side armor is quite good. It's got 80 millimeters of side armor, so if you're an experienced player you're going to be able to use the Heavy Tank 6 to side scrape just like you would in a Tiger. The rear of the tank is surprisingly well armored at 80 millimeters as well, so the armor when it's top tier is actually okay. When it is not top tier, however, it sucks. And another reason it sucks is the gun. The gun is just subpar. It really is a terrible gun. It really even struggles sometimes when it's top tier, but you get an 88 millimeter, you get the short 88 on the tank. It's got 132 millimeters of penetration, 220 damage. Now the damage is okay, the rate of fire is okay, but 132 millimeters of penetration against tier 7s and tier 8s, not going to cut it. And the premium ammo isn't very good either. It's workable, but not very good, and you're not going to be making very much profit in this tank if you are firing premium ammo. But 171 millimeters of penetration, again, against some tier 8s is going to struggle quite a bit. So the gun, very, very subpar. The aim time is not great. It's okay, it's not great. And the accuracy, again, is not very good. Now, the accuracy actually did behave in this game, but it's my Ace Tanker game, so obviously it's the best game I've played in the tank so far. But the accuracy is 0.38, and for, you know, German guns that are kind of known for their accuracy, it's not very good. So even though you've got to play this tank as a support tank when you're not top tier, the accuracy sometimes lets you down, and it fails even at being a support tank. So it's a tank that is okay. I'm not even going to say it's good. It's not that good when it's top tier, but it's okay when it's top tier. It's absolutely terrible when it's not top tier. It was introduced before any of the other Japanese heavies. They're on their way, and a lot of people bought this tank maybe as a crew trainer, but looking at some of the Japanese heavy tank information, it's not even a fantastic crew trainer. Some of the higher tier Japanese heavy tanks don't have a crew layout. They're going to have extra crew members you need that can't be trained in the Heavy Tank 6. But overall, you could train most crew members in it, and I suppose that's the main reason you'd want to get this tank. If you want to get this tank to be competitive, don't. It's not a competitive tank. If you want to get this tank as a moneymaker, don't. There are far, far better moneymakers in the game at tier 6, tier 7, and even some of the tier 5s I would say can match this for money making. It's a very, very average, even below average tank when it's not top tier. But anyway, we are here on Fisherman's Bay, and I'm technically not top tier. It's a tier 7 game. However, there are only 2 tier 7s on the enemy team, so this is a pretty nice matchup for the tank. And as you can see, acceleration it's you know, not terrible, it's okay. But I'm going to be taking the traditional heavy tank role. because unfortunately our only two tier 7s happen to be arty. So the enemy team, that Panther on the enemy team, is really the only tier 7 tank in the game. The other tier 7s are all arty. He got an incredibly good matchup. But I'm heading into town, going to do my job, and I'm not having a good feeling because if you look at the minimap, my team are all still sitting in spawn. Now there are quite a few slow tanks on my team, but I'm the first one heading into town. So yeah, I haven't had very many good games. I've had a lot of bad games and a lot of average games in this tank. I think my stats in this tank have actually suffered. Or it's caused my stats to suffer just by playing this tank. And really, I've been wanting to actually sit down and spend a day in the tank in order to play games for a review, and I just haven't been feeling sadistic enough. I like myself too much to do that to myself, so even though it's only a tier 6, I do need to review it. It's one of these tanks I just don't want to sit down and play, because yeah, I dislike the tank quite a bit. So aim carefully, 0.38 accuracy. Now, as I say, the accuracy does actually work in this game, but I've played games in this tank where it really, even at 0.38, it doesn't feel accurate. Old man reaction shot didn't realize that someone else had killed the KV-1, but we've done our first damage, got a couple of blind shots into an enemy KV-1. Now we're advancing, PC4H, shot on the move, take him, get one shot in, reduce him to a one-hit kill, and as you can see, yeah, when it's top tier, or fairly close to top tier, when it's shooting lower tier tanks, it's actually okay. So that was an enemy arty shot that landed quite near me, so I know enemy arty is sitting in A7, A8. Again, I'm playing solo. Quite often, when I'm playing tanks I don't like, I play solo. But we're advancing on a tier 5. He bounces his first shot, now a Jagdpanzer 4 appears, and I'm in a little bit of trouble. But we take out the KV-1, and another KV-1, they're breeding like rabbits, that's the third one. Gotta get into cover. Get a shot into the Jagdpanzer 4, KV-1 is spamming gold. He doesn't need gold to go through this tank, but another shot, he misses. The rate of fire, as I say, can be quite good. Get a shot through his machine gun port, he puts another one through me, and as you can see, took out my tracks. Now this tank suffers from engine fires. There's a 20% chance of this tank going on fire every time it gets hit in the engine area. I lost a lot of health, but I'm responsible for killing 3 KV-1s, which is, I suppose, a good result. But I'm down to 281. Our team are advancing. And this is where I thought, it's going to be another average game, because not many targets, and then RT pops up. Aim as long as I can and get one shot in. That was a low roll, 201. Could have one hit killed him if I'd rolled high, or even slightly better than average. But moving up, our other flank has collapsed, so I know there's a Chaffee, a Lux, and a Panther down on the other flank, but stopping to take shots where I can. And as I say, another low roll. I tend to get a lot of low rolls in this tank. But we take out the KV-2 for kill number 3. And now I've really got to go up and try and support the other flank, because we do have tanks in spawn. They are trying to spot. But I really can't get to grips with this tank. As I say, when it's not top tier, it sucks. And I don't like even platooning in it, because when you're in a platoon, I tend to get into a lot more higher tier games. So I decided to play this tank for the ace in, solo, so I wouldn't have to subject my platoon mates to games where I really couldn't help them that much in a subpar tank. So not much to shoot at, and that shot goes very low. But Panther, tier 7 tank, if I can do any damage to this guy, then I'm going to be earning more XP and credits because he's a higher tier tank. So go for a blind shot. As I say, another 201 roll. This is a tank that gets 220 alpha damage, so rolling incredibly low on most hits. Very rarely roll high. I suppose if this tank did roll high, I could recommend it a little bit more, but the DPM rate of fire is quite good. Chaffee goes down. So 3 tanks left on the enemy team, including one of their tier 7 arties. Okay, looks at the distance, not much to shoot at, and he goes down as well. But Panther's advanced, and at the moment I'm just sniping. Oh, he stopped and reversed. So get one shot in. Now he can't see me. As I say, the view range on this tank is quite good, so we get a second shot in. Are we going to get the kill? He's on 11 health. And we managed to nick the kill. So there's kill number 4. So we're up to 2.7k damage I'm aware of. Just one tank left on the enemy team. Now, he was last spotted. Actually, someone spotted him in B9. So there's a good chance he's still around that area, or else he's advancing through town. So going downhill, you can see we're up to 40 kilometers an hour. But it's not a quick, fast tank. I mean, if you've played the Tiger at tier 7, you're going to pretty much know what to expect. Armor's a little bit worse, and the gun is a lot worse. But, as I say, when you get a top tier 6 game, it's actually okay. Alright, so this guy is a one-hit kill. Wondering if I can nick kill number 5. He's hiding behind a house. Which side's he going to come around? So we're going to go around the back of the house. There's a Tog moving in, 59, 16's moving in. Not much to shoot at. Someone else gets a shot in, but we take him out for kill number 5. So first ace tanker in the tank, and I, to be honest, don't like it very much, and I'm not looking forward to the day when I finally have to sit down and spend a whole day in the tank in order to get footage for a review. I do that for every review, spend a whole day in the tank, because simply just reading about a tank isn't quite the same as playing it, and yeah, I'm not looking forward to playing this tank. Since getting the ace, I haven't played the tank since, and I doubt I'll be playing it before I have to do the review. It's just not a consistent tank. It's very, very dependent on the matchmaker. It's very, very hard to have consistently good games in this tank. Lots and lots of terrible games. I just don't like it very much, so the review is probably not going to be very positive. But as I say, it does have some strengths. Gun depression is good, DPM is okay, view range is surprisingly good, and when it's top tier, it's not bad. But yeah, it doesn't get top tier very often. But anyhow, we picked up the ace and we picked up a high caliber for that game, and I didn't even come first. So well played to our 5916, who had a big game. He did 2,537 damage in a 5916 in that game. I managed 2,708, which was quite surprising because I fired a few blind shots, but not one of the blind shots I fired actually went in. So 2,708 damage. I was hoping to break 3k, 5 kills and 1127, second on XP. Yeah, it's probably the best game I've had in the tank so far, but even that wasn't enough to come first. 21 shots fired, 17 hits and 16 penetrations, and that, believe it or not, was the gun behaving. I've been in games where I've been sniping over long distances and had huge problems actually trying to hit targets, but I was happy with the damage. As I say, when the gun works, it does okay, but more often than not, it doesn't. I actually spotted one. I spotted one, damaged 9, destroyed 5, and did 607 assistance damage, and I earned 54,000 credits, so it's not a terrible moneymaker, but again, it's match dependent, because when you're top tier or in a match like that where there are very few tier 7s, you don't have to fire a lot of premium, and therefore you can make money. But as soon as you get it into higher tier games, can you imagine trying to take on an IS-3 in this tank? It's just not going to work. 171 millimeters of penetration, not going to work. So you end up firing a lot more premium in higher tier games, and you don't make as much profit. So yeah, it's not even a fantastic money maker. 1690 XP on a ×2 left me on 507 XP with the premium bonus, left me just short of 4k XP. But yeah, I don't see myself playing a lot of games in this tank, and I really can't recommend it. It's a very, very average, even below average tank, and the only reason you would want this tank is if you're going to be training up Japanese crews, and with Japanese tanks around the corner, Japanese heavies around the corner, I would probably just rather play the Japanese heavies than have to play the heavy tank 6 in order to train the crews. Hopefully there'll be better premium tanks for Japanese heavies in future, but this really isn't a good one, and I'll leave the rest for the review. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.